will be recorded, and then it is shared on our website so that you can rewatch, or for families who have missed it, it gives them an opportunity to be present and participate as well. Hi, Mrs. Hushin.
Good morning.
All right. So as I mentioned in my reminder email last night, and hello, Kager Ice family. Today's focus, our topic is going to be on finding ways to lift each other up. And I shared the quote in my email to everyone on Tuesday that really just struck a chord with me. And I came about it, I believe, sort of serendipitously. When you can't go out, go within. And some of us are really having to dig deep these days to find ways to lift ourselves up, lift our children up, lift each other up. And I'm sure that the news from Governor Carney and then from Mr. Davis last evening about us not being able to return to school this year landed really hard, I know, in the hearts of all of us. I was watching communication through a group text chat that we have with teachers and seeing messages on Facebook. And to be completely honest and vulnerable, I myself have had to refrain from engaging in that until I could kind of get my own emotions sort of centered, and having to mourn the fact that that is where we are. It's the reality to keep us safe, but it does feel sad and it does feel disappointing, and a whole host of other things that I know I'm feeling, that I would imagine that you're all feeling too. And so I'm a big believer in that it's important to allow ourselves to feel those things, but then kind of figure out where we're going to go next and how we're going to take the next step forward there. And so I want all of you to know that we as a school are committed to finding a way that is going to honor the year for our students, whether they are graduating and moving on from St. Anne's, whether they are fourth graders who are getting ready to make a leap and experience a milestone moving up to the middle school. Maybe it was their very first year in school, in preschool or pre-K or kindergarten, or even your year in first grade, your year in second grade. If you think back to when you were a child, that was it for you. That was your life, and that, those moments, they're memories that you have. And so it's hard to be able to experience those memories in the context of this distance learning experience where we can't all be together. But we are committed to finding ways to honor that time, to celebrate when we can return and be in closer proximity to each other. But I don't want you to think that that this news, while it is very sad and upsetting and disappointing, means that the year just kind of floats away into the horizon and just ends. We don't want that to happen. We want to value the experiences and the time that we got to spend personally, physically connected at the beginning part of the year, and the time that we're getting to spend connected virtually now. It's different. It's not what we would choose to do, but it is meaningful. And I can say that from the experiences that I've had by popping into the different Google Meets and watching the kids interact. And I actually had my first experience yesterday where I got to meet a brand new child who's coming to our school next year. And he's a 3-year-old. He's going to be 4, and he'll be coming into our pre-K. And I got to meet him online and talk to him and play some games with him. And so we're finding new ways to connect. And I really think that that's kind of how we have to keep looking at this. The age-old saying of when life hands you lemons, you make lemonade. Sometimes it goes down sour at first, but you figure out a way to make it a little sweeter. So I just want you to know that it's on our hearts and our minds to be able to really finish the year strong, in a strong way. And welcome conversations about that as well. So I just wanted to acknowledge that. I know that news was hard for all of us. I think we knew it was coming. I know myself, I wasn't necessarily expecting us to be able to come back to school, but the reality when the words are said and they're out there feels a little bit different when it's finally real. So I just wanted to acknowledge that. One more quick sort of bit of housekeeping, I guess, if you will, before we move into some sharing, is a question that came up at the onset of our start of distance learning because of the timing, was a question about parent-teacher conferences and how we were going to handle that. Naturally, with the timing of our originally scheduled parent-teacher conferences, it didn't make sense for us to have them at that time, even virtually, because we were still kind of getting underway with distance learning. That was in our first official week. I know that the teachers have been reaching out to parents individually through phone calls, emails, FaceTimes, small one-on-one Google Meets. That is how we're going to continue to have that communication. We've looked at a couple of different options, and I've talked to different schools about what they're doing. And I think right now for us to take like 2 days like we would in the past, we don't want to stop the momentum that we have going on with our distance learning by taking time off to do that, but we do want the conversations to happen. So teachers will be reaching out to you. They will be offering additional opportunities to connect. I know that like I said, those conversations have been really rich and have been already going on at a weekly, sometimes daily frequency. So if there is something that you feel you're not getting answers to, or you have questions and you just don't feel that you've had an opportunity to fully discuss them, please don't hesitate. The teachers are willing and ready to have those conversations and do it in a way that works best for you. Like I said, it can be a Google Meet, it can be a FaceTime, a phone call, whatever you prefer. We also recognize that everyone's schedules are a bit topsy-turvy these days, and so we want to be flexible in accommodating that as well. Before we move into some sharing, are there any questions about what I have shared so far? I'm looking in the comments, loving to see the wonderful comments about the sunshine and our gratefulness for that. But anything else before I move on? Okay, please feel free to go ahead and continue to drop things in the chat. I'm going to go first in sharing something with you all, and then I'm going to ask you to share as well. And you do it in whatever way you're comfortable. So if you're most comfortable sharing a thought in the chat, feel free to do that. If you feel comfortable unmuting yourself and engaging that way, we'd love that. We'd love to hear your voice, see your face, and have an opportunity to connect. My goal in doing this really is to help us help each other and help us lift each other up. I'm a big quote person. So I often wake up in the morning and try to find something that resonates with me. And so the first quote on the left there that says, "We rise by lifting others," is kind of where I started with this process of thinking about what we would discuss today and what we would share today. And I do think that it also fills our hearts when we can help others. And so I'm a big believer in that as well. The middle quote kind of is something I've seen it for years, but I keep looking at it. And after, as I said, the news from the governor yesterday, I think it becomes even more important to me. When it rains, look for rainbows. When it's dark, look for stars. And I think it's just what I was talking about before with regard to when you're feeling a certain kind of way, you need to allow yourself to feel that. And then, what do you do next? you feel sad, you feel down, maybe you feel angry. And then, what can you look for to help you through that? And know that you're not alone. And that is another reason I wanted to do this today. The last quote I'm sharing because I'm also somebody who believes that music speaks to me. And I have an extremely eclectic musical taste. So it ranges from everything modern to some real classics. I won't go so far as to give away my age entirely, but this particular one I have actually had in front of me throughout this process, because I think that whole sense of every little thing is going to be all right. In the end, I believe that. I believe it with all my heart. But it's something that we have to remind ourselves. The last thing I'm going to share with you, because I feel like I've been doing all the talking here, is something that I shared with the pre-K yesterday. So in our pre-K classes, their live meets, one of the things that they do is a circle time, which is something they do at school. So we've tried to replicate that. We've tried to do this at many of our early childhood and in even some of our older classes. And yesterday's pre-K circle time was a share time. And so all of the children brought different things. Some brought books, some brought toys, some brought stuffed animals or dolls or things like that. And I joined in on their conversation, and I wanted to share too. And so I'm just going to share with you something that I shared with them that also is the piece of what lifts me up. So you may or may not be familiar with these little. Can you give me a thumbs up if you can kind of see these little figurines? Okay, great. Thanks, Tiffany. They're willow tree figurines. They're something that I've always really enjoyed and liked. I actually have my nativity scene at Christmas time are these figurines. And so I've received them as gifts over many years. And this one in particular I received as a mom. I have 2 daughters, if you don't know that. And so I received this as a mom, and it's an angel, but I've always looked at this as the angel, the larger figure being the mother, and the little figure being my daughters. And so when I look at this figurine and I look at the mother hugging the child, it always makes me think of my children and that embrace and how I feel about them. But what I shared with the pre-K is that this figurine, which usually sits on a shelf somewhere, I moved recently in the last few weeks to be sitting right in front of the computer that I'm on right now, which I spend many hours a day on. And while it does remind me of my children still, it actually makes me think of the children at St. Anne's and my such a strong desire. I'm a hugger, and I do hug the children as long as they're okay with it. And one of the hardest parts about this disconnection for me is that lack of physical connection with them, to be able to see them and give them a hug or a high five or a fist bump in the morning or throughout the day. And so I look at this figurine and it lifts me up, because I just it takes me to being in the space at school with the kids and being able to have that presence with them. So this is something that it's right in front of me. It's in my direct line of sight almost all day. And it just makes me think of your kids and how much I love them and how much I miss them. So I'm gonna open it up now and see if folks would like to share some things.
Hello?
Yes.
Yes, this is Deborah calling. Deborah Duke Ellis, Naima and Amina's grandmother.
Hi, Deborah.
How is everybody doing? I hope that everybody's doing well. I'd just like to share with you that Naima and Amina have become quite wonderful cooks.
Oh,
They're actually cooking breakfast now. But Amina's done all kinds of things. She has cooked tacos. Naeem and Amina have done waffles. I mean, they are really going to become gourmet cooks during this time. And I want everybody to know that. In fact, I think I'm putting on a few pounds as if I could do that.
Oh, that is awesome. What is their favorite thing that they have made so far that you like that they've made so far?
I'm trying to think. These girls are banging those pots. Maybe waffles and tacos. They've done tacos more than once, and they've done the waffles, and they're even eating vegetables in larger numbers now. So they're even doing that. So
Awesome.
yeah, I'm enjoying just about everything they're preparing.
We may need to get them to share their recipes with us.
Oh, they'll love that. They're actually doing smoothies today.
Oh, wow, delicious.
So anyway, I just wanted everybody to know that. I mean, I think it's difficult for the kids because, you know, we do go out for walks every single day. And so we try to make sure they have exercise. But they've really become quite the chefs. I told them maybe they go on some children's cooking show or something.
Yeah.
Make their mother a millionaire.
Yeah, they could always video themselves cooking and share it with us. We'd love to see it.
Okay, I'll let them know that.
Thank you, Deborah.
Okay. And thank you.
Mrs. Mack shared in the chat that she created a support group on Facebook for parents to share ideas and bond with each other during this difficult time. She mentioned that they share teaching strategies and coping techniques and everyday life moments, and that it's been therapeutic for her and the other parents. I think that's wonderful. And I think those ways that we can reach out and bond with each other, our experiences might be unique and different in and of themselves, but I think that kind of hearing what other people are feeling also helps us know that we're not alone, and it normalizes some of the mixed feelings that we might be experiencing. That's really great, Tammy. Thank you, and thank you for sharing that.
Hello, I just wanted to say, make one quick point. You know, this being my first year at St. Anne's, I've had conversations with a lot of other first-year heads of school, and we've talked about what this whole experience has been like, and we just kind of you know, just share thoughts and ideas about you know, how you move forward and all of those types of things. But other than that, I think one of the things that I think is really important is that I think about time that's wasted. You know, so if I go back to the beginning of the year and I think about things that we did that I really, really enjoyed, and I definitely have great memories of what the beginning of the year was like, and but I also think about the little things that we sometimes don't even really focus on, the things that just kind of go by us. And as I reflect now, I think about how important those, a lot of those things were. And so I guess if there was something that I wanted to share with folks, I just want to say, we've got to be careful not to be wasting time and not to be wasting experiences, and to be making sure that we're enjoying the people that we're around on a regular basis, because we can waste time. No one would have thought that we're going to be in a situation where you weren't going to be able to be near people. I think about my own family, and I had to celebrate my father's birthday virtually. I've had to celebrate a couple of different events, virtually. And while we've done that and it's been fine, I mean, I have to go back and think about the last time I was together with many of these groups and wondering, did you really appreciate it or did you take it for granted? And so I think the thing that I'm taking away from this is not to take any of the times for granted. We've got amazing kids, we've got amazing teachers, and every day there are things going on that are just fantastic. And so, I say don't take it for granted and spread the word. So, and I'll get off the box. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Davis. Tiffany Stewart shared with us that it's been great to engage in the learning process with her children in a proactive way. And she's also able to watch how her older children are managing their learning. She says that she's proud as she watches them engage and experience the learning with them. Thank you for sharing that, Tiffany. I've noticed that too with my own children. It's definitely looking at things through a different lens. And I also believe that our kids I think I mentioned this in a previous coffee, our kids are learning a set of skills that I'm not even entirely sure we realized that they needed. And so it's been rather eye-opening to sort of see that and watch them as their resilience builds and their adaptability strengthens. While we're waiting for others to share, I'm going to drop a link in the chat of a video of Alicia Keys' new song. I mentioned to you that music really speaks to me. As I've looked at ways to lift up and encourage and support the teachers through this process, I've looked at things that I can share with them. And yesterday morning, I shared a link to this video. The beginning is a little bit of a clip from CNN, but Alicia Keys made this video and wrote this new song entitled Good Job, and she talks about all of the different folks who are working and continuing to put themselves out there, teachers included. So I encourage you to check that out. I also have another link that I want to share with you that I'm dropping in that is a video recording of Ben Platt, who was the lead in the Broadway musical Dear Evan Hansen. And it's at the beginning of that clip is a little bit of, I believe it's The Late Show, and I can't remember who The Late Show host is, but I'm a big fan of Broadway musicals. And I took my daughter and her friend a couple of years ago to see Dear Evan Hansen, and the song, I believe it's called You Are Not Alone. And so I encourage you to listen to that or to watch that too. But those are some other ways that I find lift me up. And I feel like by sharing them with others, I can help lift others up that way too. Diane shares with us that she's come to know the names and mannerisms of each and every one of the super kids very well. I love that. So if you aren't familiar, Super Kids is an early literacy reading program that we adopted a few years ago at St. Anne's. Lisa Bloomfield and I did about 3 years of research to find a program that we felt would best meet the needs of our early childhood, early literacy. And it's designed to go from kindergarten up through second grade. We primarily use it in our kindergarten and first grade. And the Super Kids are the characters that essentially teach the children how to read. And the characters grow with the kids as they go through the stages of the year and from one year into the next. And they're quite a cast of characters. So that's awesome, Diane. That really makes me smile. The stories are fun and engaging, and so that's awesome. Mrs. Cataldi echoes the sentiment, saying the program is amazing. If you're curious, just Google Super Kids Reading Program and you'll get to see a picture of Tic Tac and Talk and Hot Rod, and Cass, who's a cook, who has a cat named Coconut. You can sense the early reading strategies, I'm sure, just even if you're not a teacher, and how that's put together. But there's Doc, who likes to fix things, and Fritz, who goes fishing, and just lots of really cool, diverse characters that that bring the learning alive for the kids and help them connect. When we implemented the program, we actually noticed that the kids, while they were outside at recess, they were playing Super Kids. So, instead of being the Avengers or the Incredibles, they were saying, I'm going to be Cass, and no, I'm going to be Fritz, and Sal. No, today I want to be Sal. I think it's Sal who likes sports, but it's really cool. Do you have anyone else who would like to share? Mrs. Kegeray shares that the second graders are working on poetry, and it's been such a special experience to share her favorite poems. I think this is Mrs. Kegeray. Forgive me if it's Mr. Kegeray. And share favorite poems with Hannah and find new favorites together. That's awesome. Thank you for sharing that. With poetry in second grade, the kids on campus do a weekly poetry hike as part of their outdoor learning. And having had my two children go through St. Anne's before we really implemented go through the lower school before we really implemented our outdoor education program, it's really cool to kind of see how that's evolved. And I remember when I got the opportunity to share, Shel Silverstein is a huge favorite of mine. I think it's because I just like the silliness and the oddity of those poems. The ones that have the bathroom humor are like my favorite, I have to admit. It's, there's one about picking your nose, and I don't know, maybe it's the 7-year-old in me, but it just still makes me giggle out loud when I read about those. So I remember being able to pull out all my old copies of A Light in the Attic or Where the Sidewalk Ends and share those poems. Yes, Runny Babbitt. Mrs. Kellner, Runny Babbitt, yes.
Good morning, Valerie. Can you hear
Good
me?
Good morning. Hi, Fatima. Hi, Sonia. How are you?
This is Sobia. How are you?
I'm sorry. You know what?
It's
I put my glasses on. You're right.
No problem.
Sonia on my screen.
Oh no, it's okay. I just want to say thank you so much. It's been wonderful to see all the hard work everyone's been putting in. It really means a lot. And it gives me a sense of comfort to know that Fatima is still continuing on her journey of learning, because without you guys, I don't know if I would have been able to provide any of that or to the level at which she's getting it. So thank you so much. I just want to acknowledge all the hard work you guys are doing. It's really commendable. And I just wanted to share with you guys that for us, the month of Ramadan has started as of yesterday. And it's it's a month-long fasting. And it's a very special time of the year for us. And, we often daily, we go to the mosque, and on the weekends, the kids go to the mosque and they see all their friends there. They break fast with the community. So it's a very community-centered event. And so obviously this year that none of that is happening. So we're all in our homes and everyone's just partaking in it themselves. And Fatima said to me, she said, the thing I like the most about Ramadan is being able to go to the mosque and to be able to see my friends and to play with them and then to break fast with them and even pray together. So, she acknowledged that, and I think that's been the hardest for us. But one of the things that we've tried to do is just utilize, like Mr. Davis said, to utilize the time that we have and not waste it. And so to take that energy and put it elsewhere. So And in everything, we always try to look for the positive and what's the bright side of it. And I recognize that one of the things with them being home all the time is that this year, even though our Ramadan is going to be completely different from what the kids have been used to, but Fatma is attempting to fast the full days as much as she can. It's something she wants to do, and I know she's able to give it more of an effort because she doesn't have to go to school all day. And so it doesn't tire her out as much. And then on top of it, because we can't go to the mosque, she built her own mosque out of all these cardboard boxes that we had. And she's created a great piece of artwork, and she's been decorating the house. She's been putting lights up everywhere, and she's become very engaged in that. And I know that that's opportunity that, maybe we wouldn't have had the chance to do all these things otherwise. And so to be able to spend that time with her and trying to create a sense of, the joy of Ramadan in the home without having our friends and family around us all the time, it's kind of, it's kind of, it's kind of like you take lemons, right? And you make lemonade. And so I've been really proud of all of her creativity coming out and all of her, just excitement for the month of Ramadan coming out. So I just wanted to share that because, that's something that's very, I guess unique and particular to our situation right now. But we're taking it a day at a time, and it's going well. So we're just enjoying the time we have together and taking those moments to just utilize them to the best of our advantage.
Thank you, Sophie, for sharing that. And thank you so much too for your kind words and support and encouragement of the teachers and what they're doing right now. That means a lot, and I absolutely will be sure to share that with them. Sort of where the voids are for her, and to find ways, like building the mosque, to find ways to fill those. And we know it's not an exact trade-off, but I think that in the spirit of lifting ourselves up and lifting each other up and being able to find those, I think this also is an opportunity where sometimes I feel like we learn from our kids. We see their resilience. Some days their resilience is stronger than ours. It's really awesome. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, no, thank you. I just wanted to let you know. And again, no, I sincerely mean it. Thank you to all of you. You guys have been amazing. And I kind of have just let Ms. Hushin do everything because I really am assuming Fatma is very focused and does what she needs to do. And I think, it's because she has such a great love and respect for Ms. Hushin. So thank you, Ms. Hushin.
Thank you. And Mrs. Kellner echoed what you were saying, that these are hidden gifts that we find during this time. Katie DeSantis shared with us that she also wants to thank the teachers for keeping things fun with the theme and dress-up days and playing games over chats. It definitely gets her kiddos excited about starting their day of learning. You're welcome, and thank you also for your support and encouragement and the emails that you've shared, Katie. I love seeing the pictures that you're all sharing on Instagram and Facebook too, seeing the kids in their home learning environment, having fun. I know I've seen a few pictures of Maddie DeSantis with Mrs. Kaminsky's theme days of, dressing as an animal or, wearing a funky hat or things like that. So it's really fun to see the kids embracing the opportunities that the teachers are putting out there too. Thanks for your support. We know it's not easy, and we know that as much as we want to do for you in this time, there's still a lot that as parents you still have to do to facilitate and make this happen. So thank you for the effort you're putting in as well. We do still have a few moments left if anyone else would like to share. I have to tell you how much it means for us all, the leadership team and the teachers, to have your presence in these Saturday coffees as well. It helps us stay strong as a community. I've been thinking about just different aspects of this experience, and I've been at St. Anne's for a long time. I've been there 12 years, including the year that before I came to work there, and I've never. It's interesting that in this time of crisis and in this different time for the school, I've never felt the strength of the community be any stronger than it is right now. And that, I think, just speaks to the partnership that we have and the trust that you have in us. And that doesn't mean it's perfect. It doesn't mean there are ways that, we can't continue to grow, but the strength of this community is incredible. And I think it's only going to get stronger.
So there was a question regarding summer camp possibilities.
Oh, yes. You want to answer that, Barry?
Yes. So we're already having conversations about that possibility. So we're following what's happening in terms of what we can do with gathering. But I just wanted to let you know that we are definitely already having conversations about the possibilities of summer camp. So as soon as we have more, that information will be shared with you. Okay, thank you.
No problem. It's a great question, Diane. We're also, as I said in the beginning, looking at ways that when it is appropriate for us to be able to kind of pull back on the social distancing, or look, even if we can't, between now and the end of the school year, ways that we might be able to engage in some activities that will allow us to connect. The ideas haven't been firmed up just yet, but there's a lot that we're looking at. I would encourage you too, that if you're just, especially on a beautiful day like today, if you're out for a drive and you just want to drive down the lane, it's hard when no one's there, but I am over at school a couple of times a week, and it fills my bucket just to drive down the lane and see the red doors and see the brick front of the building. So don't hesitate to just, drive on by. You might even see one of us, and we can wave from a distance. Well, I just want to thank you again for taking the time to join us this morning. Next Saturday, we'll gather again at the same time, and we will be sharing some of the discussion from the survey feedback that we've received. There is still time to go ahead and reply to that in the email that Mr. Davis sent out last night. The link is in there, as well as in the Tuesday email that I shared with you. Please give your kids a big hug from all of us. Tell them that we said hello, that we miss them, that we love seeing them in the live meets and the pictures that they're posting. And as always, don't hesitate to reach out to us. We're here for you. And in the words of High School Musical, we're all in this together. Thank you, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.
See you later, Miss White.
Bye, Mr. Davis.
All right. Take care.
Bye, everybody. You too.